Welcome to Cape Verde.
It's just one word for Cape Verde.
Wow.
Cape Verde is made up of 10 unique islands spread across the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of West Africa. I had the chance to explore 3 of the islands, Santiago, São Vicente and Sal. With a population of around 600,000, Cape Verde's official language is Portuguese, but most people speak Creole. Think of it like the Portuguese version of Pidgin English. What makes Cape Verde unique is its blend of Africa, Europe and Brazil. Around 71% of the population have a mixed heritage of African and Portuguese ancestry. These people are known as mulatto.
My grandmom is from Guinea-Bissau. My grandfather is from Portugal.
Around 28% of the population have African ancestry, while the remaining 1% are Portuguese or other European immigrants.
The place is Africa, but walking around, you don't get the same vibe as in you're in Lagos or you're in Accra.
Cape Verde, they don't have like these political problems, right? And they don't have like tribal problems, right? That is not African. I'm just joking, I'm joking.
For a small country with a population of 600,000, no major resources and a service-oriented economy that relies on tourism,
It's actually impressive what they're able to achieve, right? In terms of education, in terms of healthcare, in terms of infrastructure.
this is the most democratic country in Africa with one of the highest literacy rates. They have a government that's continuously investing in its citizens by subsidizing education, healthcare, and housing. I saw a housing project where locals pay as little as $10 to $20 a month.
It seems like you guys are running on socialism or something like that.
Oh, we're not socialist at all. Although we have a party that defends the way, but it's a mix of both. It's a capitalism with liberal social policies, right? So we have like housings for people, and we have free education and low health care. So
How many tribes do you have in Cape Verde?
so we don't have tribes in Cape Verde because of our history.
So there's no such thing as tribalism here.
No, there is no such thing.
The minimum wage in Cape Verde is about 15,000 escudos. That's 3 times more than Nigeria and Ghana.
A teacher would receive something like 80, a cop something like 50, a physician something like 80.
Taking all of this into account, life in Cape Verde is definitely impressive compared to many other African nations. There's also another factor that sets Cape Verde apart, which is
There are more Cape Verdeans outside of Cape Verde than in Cape Verde. Like the streets are literally empty. You walk around the streets, sometimes you don't see anyone.
Because many families travel. For example, in Fogo Island, people have many family in America.
today, the large diaspora population of Cape Verde is bringing in steady remittance and foreign investments that support the local economy. Though the population loss means a smaller workforce and fewer industries for Cape Verde, they can easily compensate for this by welcoming migrants from other West African countries. Because as a member of ECOWAS, it has this free movement policy for citizens from other ECOWAS countries, but they're not embracing this at all. I know this because of my experience at the airport.
So here I am at the Blaise Diagne International Airport, Dakar. And before I crossed here, before they allowed me entry here, before they allowed me to get in, bro, it was like more than 30 minutes just struggling there, because apparently to go to Cape Verde, Praia, you need like a return ticket, right? They gotta allow you in without a return ticket. And for me, my return ticket is for Guinea-Bissau. I don't need to come back to Dakar. I'm from Praia, I'm going straight to Guinea-Bissau. But they said no, they will not allow me in if I don't have a return ticket back to Dakar. Those are because apparently Cape Verde, they deport a lot of like Nigerian, Senegalese.
You have to provide a hotel, you have to provide your return ticket, you have to provide like 1,000 euros or 500 euros, something. You have to show that you have money to stay here. I had all those things, so they let me in. But what happened to free movement of goods and people, you know?
Imagine with your ECOWAS passport and then they make it really this difficult for you. But Alhamdulillah, of course, this A-Sky staff, Matar Tal, he made it, you know, he allowed me to get in and then he facilitated everything for me. So shout outs to A-Sky for that. But then that is, it's really sad, you know, as Africans, we all have the same, you know, ECOWAS, you know, we say there's free movement of goods and people, and then I need to provide a return ticket, I need to provide a hotel, I need to provide this, and they make it really difficult, man. They are part of Africa, part of West Africa, but then they feel like they are more like in Europe, you know, which, you know, to me, it's like unfair, you know.
Praia surprised me. Walking through this city, I was struck by the level of organization and beauty. From the overall aesthetics and architecture to the public parking spaces and even the electric cars and charging stations, it feels like Europe, even though I've never been there.
And then the people, wow, super nice people.
Even though some parts of the architecture and aesthetics made me feel like I was not in Africa, but these warm smiles and hospitality reminded me that I was still in Africa.
Currently, I'm standing right next to the presidential palace. They have no problem with me filming. I even went to the military guys, they allowed us to film them. You can only have that in Cape Verde. This woman, femme. Cette femme, c'est qui? Cesaria. C'est Cape-Verdian? São Vicente. Ora jarama. O t-shirt ko jelu? Odo ko 1000. XXL. Foda mi lara no? Odo ko jano de ya? Lara on. Let's go get something to eat, man.
As I walked into the market, I was struck by how clean and organized everything was. The markets were spotless, and food sellers kept things so well arranged.
Sabo? ¿Cuánto?
300.
¿Ah? 300, okay. Rice, beans, chicken, fries, cleared. Really, really good. Alhamdulillah.
The next day, I went on to try Cape Verde's national dish.
This cachupa, aquele cachupa. Cachupa é feito de feijão.
Yeah.
Side note, if you don't eat pork, always ask what's in the food because they put pork in a lot of dishes here. I learned that the hard way.
So as you know, Cape Verde is a Muslim minority country. Currently I'm at the Central Mosque. Every country that I visit, I go to the Central Mosque and pray there and then go to the beach and swim. So now it's about time to get in there and pray 2 rak'ats.
Semo Guinea Bissau quality. Alhamdulillah, me Cape Verde, covering 2013. Nada Cape Verde, Muslimia, la ku sabo kamoli in Samananja. Nala lolle ket sawbati pour Muslimia naja. Alhamdulillah.
In the 15th century, when Portuguese explorers discovered these uninhabited islands off the coast of West Africa, they quickly claimed them as their own and eventually became the first settlers. Their first settlement was on this town called Cidade Velha.
This area was the beginning of everything.
The Portuguese soon brought enslaved people from coasts of Senegal, Gambia, and Guinea-Bissau, turning Cape Verde into one of the most important slave trade harbors of the 16th century. Cape Verde became the first European overseas colony. By the 19th and 20th centuries, it became deeply segregated and hierarchical. At the top of the hierarchy were the Portuguese-born whites. They were the government officials, soldiers, and the upper clergy. The next group were the local whites. These are the whites and mixed descendants of the earliest European settlers. Below them, you have the free blacks and mulattoes. At the bottom, you have the slaves. Today, as I went around in present-day Cape Verde, I didn't see signs of that segregation. People here seem to live as one and in harmony. But what I noticed was that some Cape Verdeans still lean more towards their European heritage than their African roots. Believe me when I say this, there are even some dark-skinned folks who feel they are culturally white. And then there are those who...
No, I'm African. I'm a real African. Yeah.
But I feel like African because I can speak for myself. But
generally,
people feeling like Europeans, but we are Africans.
Like there are two countries especially that I see that have a lot of influence here, that is Brazil and Portugal. The liberalization of everything, and sometimes we get lost in our own culture. We don't know why we do certain things and if we should do certain things. Like I see that with this new generation from 2000 and forward, like a lot of our identity is being lost because it's getting mixed with other things, which is not really bad, but it's not bad only if you know your roots and you try to get attached to it. Because if we lost our identity as people, like we lose everything. Now it's like we are more focused in Europe and America than Africa, which is sad, especially because Africa is like, in terms of culture, I think it's the most beautiful continent there is, like. So that's the way I see it.
Cape Verde was the first African Portuguese colony to have an institution of higher education. By the time of independence, 1/4 of the population were literate. Yes, even though there was slavery, segregation and all of that, the Portuguese treated Cape Verdeans differently than other African colonies. And I think the reason is because of their European ancestry. This kinda played a role in the push for independence when leaders like Amilcar Cabral and other Pan-Africanists began an independence movement based in Guinea-Bissau. The vision was simple: to secure freedom for both Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde. Sadly, Cabral was assassinated in January 1973. Guinea-Bissau gained independence in September of that year, and Cape Verde followed in 1975. The two countries adopted a constitution envisioning unity, but after the 1980 coup in Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde stepped away from that plan. But you know what's sad? The fact that I've never heard of Amilcar Cabral or this remarkable independence movement before stepping foot in Cape Verde. Now that the history lesson is out of the way, let me tell you another thing I noticed in Cape Verde. The family and social dynamics here are completely different compared to where I'm from.
We don't care about this marriage, you know. People marry you if they are young, just for religion.
I noticed many young girls and women with one or multiple children. So I asked him if this trend could negatively affect the fabric of society, especially since some of these children might grow up without one or both parents actively present in their lives.
So that's how you do here.
I have 4.
You have 4? So and you're not thinking about getting married?
Marry, yeah. Maybe.
But not now?
Not now. No more kids too.
But before going and having kids, is it not better to marry someone and just focus on that?
You're young. You think you want to marry now?
Yeah, I want to marry now. But how do you think that shapes your society?
It's normal.
It's normal here. Oh wow.
I don't have my mom and my dad. They have just me in child, you know.
Okay.
Just me. But my mom have 6, my dad have 6. But we're too close, yeah, very close. If my daddy have a lot baby mom, it's no problem for us, you know. We're brother. Doesn't matter.
This travel I did across Africa has been one of the most transformative experiences of my life. I came across people and cultures that challenged my beliefs and the way I was accustomed to living, and these experiences reshaped the way I see the world and how I connect and coexist with others.
Bro, you look like Rashford.
Huh?
You look like Rashford, the footballer.
The football.
You know? You don't know Rashford? Manchester.
Manchester.
Yes. You watch football?
No, I like basket.
Oh, basket.
Yes.
Google Rashford. Go.
Ah, okay.
You look like him. Yeah. Okay, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tarrafal cheio. Tarrafal, doce. Suele. Get us some really.
Okay. How much is it?
Today, I'm in Tarrafal, a stunning beach town on the northern tip of Santiago Island, famous for its crystal clear waters. From Santiago, the main island, I flew to Sal, the tourist hotspot. This is the most popular island amongst tourists. This island does not only attract visitors, but a good number of Europeans have made it their home too.
And Sal is one of the first places that I decided to stay longer than I initially planned to do. Even though there might not be so much to do around in the island compared to other places, it's just a nice place to be.
One of the first places I visited in Sal was Pedra de Lume, a true natural wonder of Cape Verde. Similar to the Dead Sea, this lake's high salt concentration makes it impossible to sink, so no matter what you do, you'll effortlessly float. This lake sits in the crater of an extinct volcano and was once a major site for salt production. After 2 days, I have done pretty much everything, so I spent the remaining days playing football, swimming, and reading. Life in Cape Verde moves at a very slow pace. It's too still for my liking. And one thing about me, I hate stillness. If I were to describe Cape Verde in few words, I'd say it's relaxed, it's a tropical paradise, it's chaos-free, it's a haven for holiday makers.
If the beach and then the parties, those are your vibe, you like it here because there's a lot of that. But if that is not your vibe, I think if you're coming here, stay for 3 days and leave.
Cape Verde is not a slow country. It's just a no stress country.
Because yeah, the Cape Verdean phrase is like no stress. I was bored out of my mind because of that no stress, right? I mean, you don't walk around and see an uncle whose car breaks down and then they ask you for a push and then you push them and then they pollute the whole neighborhood, they pollute the whole environment, and then you go to you get into the van. These vans, they don't have any conductors, you know, so there's no one to argue with. You know, the places where it's supposed to be 3 passengers, they carry 3 passengers instead of 4. You know, so all those things, right? All those things, you know. And then the drivers, they all have the change in red. Everything is ready. You get into the car, when you reach your destination, you get down, you pay, they give you their change instead of telling you before you get in, I don't have change, you know.
So yeah, everything is like order.
From Sal, I took a ferry to São Vicente, the island that's often referred to as the cultural island of Cape Verde. It has a unique blend of African, Portuguese, and Brazilian influences. It is the most colorful and most beautiful island I've visited.
Too much. That is too much. It's too much.
Thank you, bro, very much.
You can do it in your language. Do it in your language.
You understand my language?
I don't understand, but it's good.
I don't understand, but you will understand. Chega a maneira de fazer esse flow, nega saber de fazer esse importante fazer esse flow. Eu nega saber
One of the first things I did on this island was to visit this small coastal village called São Pedro. In this village, I snorkeled and swam alongside turtles. It was such a beautiful and pleasant experience.
What is it? What is it?
It's the pork.
Oh, pork.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I don't eat pork.
Earlier on, I mentioned how Cape Verde hasn't fully embraced the ECOWAS free movement policy. To be fair, I think they kinda did. Because as I moved from one island to another, I saw a lot of Senegalese and Guineans running their small businesses here. But from what I've observed across various sectors, it's the Chinese that dominates the business landscape.
They have easy life here, I think, because they don't pay a lot of things.
Yeah, but maybe because the government used that as a strategy to bring, because this is an island, so it's easier. China they produce a lot of things, so it's easier for them to bring it here. I think that is in your best interest. But then if the things are expensive, then it is not good.
Yeah, but they sell things not too expensive, but it's normal. It's normal, yeah.
Tiki tac, esta peça mamete o pato. Liga esta cara poti, meu cara pati. Ele é cagama, família escapou o espeto. Rap que te rap, esta peça mamelo reta. Puto de 2000, esta peça ano 80. Antes da zinga da rica fica. Agora chama Benfica, e a tua pele de riba. Já fazer coisa que nesta sabia. Me disse que eu ter abolado. Se busca da puta e maca por de barrano. Sala de riba que tá chorando para nós. Tudo se te passa de cena muito de Deus. Galinha com bongado, tudo tá caro no pescoço. Esqueça de VIP, que tá mais de nós.